The state of Missouri, nestled in the heart of America, is known for its lush Ozark mountains and scenic valleys. But now, it has become the battleground of a fierce conflict between humans and one of the most destructive wild creatures out there, the feral hog. Since 2020, according to data from the Missouri Department of Agriculture, feral hogs have caused over $2 million in damage every year, with their population spreading at an alarming rate. In Shannon County, deep in the Ozarks, locals have witnessed cornfields ripped apart, grazing pastures left bare, fences broken down. And in recent months, a single farm suffered over $10,000 in losses after hogs destroyed their entire season's crops. And so, we set our sights on this wild hog hunt. Will we succeed? Join us and find out. It was only 7 a.m. when we reached the mountains. Right away, we spotted tracks and fresh signs of rooting, clear evidence a herd had passed through just the night before. We crept through the trees, scanning every shadow. Suddenly, from behind a thick bush, a huge black boar sprang up and bolted in panic. We instinctively fired. The shot hit its shoulder, but the beast kept running for another 20 meters before finally collapsing. A heart-pounding start to our hunt. By around 10 a.m., the sun was up and the fog had mostly cleared. We followed a trail into a dense forest. That's when a shadowy figure came into view, and the whole team had it in our sights. We fanned out, keeping just enough distance. When the time was right, we opened fire. Another massive bore down. That ambush led us straight to the hiding spot of the rest of the herd. The moment they spotted us, they bolted in every direction, but we had already covered all the exits. There was no way out. Gunshots rang through the woods, one shot, one kill. Following a blood trail, I turned, only to see a herd of wild hogs charging straight at me, scattering in every direction to throw off the team. My gun was ready, and I fired without hesitation. A sudden ambush and a harsh reminder, in these mountains, you can't let your guard down for even a second. Around noon, while the team was taking a quick break after a tense morning, a giant hog came barreling at us, completely unfazed, like it was daring us to take on. I lined up the shot, took a deep breath, and pulled the trigger. The bullet struck the vital spot. The boar thrashed for a moment, then dropped. When we got closer and weighed at 198 kilograms, the biggest hog of the day. In the afternoon, sunlight filtered through the canopy. We moved to another patch of forest. In a blink, we managed to shoot several hogs that had been wandering nearby, including one pregnant sow. A tough call, but we had no choice. If she gave birth, the herd would double in just a few months. caught up in the action, we lost track of time and fatigue. Every successful shot pumped the team up even more, giving us renewed strength to keep going. And so, the hunt lasted all the way till evening. It was a wildly successful day. We brought back trophies to be proud of. But with the feral hog population exploding, this is far from over. The fight goes on. In natural ecosystems, wild boars play an extremely important role. They dig the soil, contributing to biodegradation and enriching the flora. However, when out of control, they can become a real nightmare. Today, our group is in an area where this animal has overgrown, causing serious impacts on agriculture and native flora and fauna. And the target of our trip is a giant wild boar weighing more than 250 kilograms. Will we be able to successfully capture this monster? Please follow along. The mountain ahead is majestic, wild, and mysterious. We enter the rugged terrain, rumored to be the den of the giant wild boar herd. A large herd of pigs is charging towards us. Quickly running forward to intercept, the whole team got into position to fight. In a split second, when the target appeared, we opened fire simultaneously. One fell down immediately. The roar of the wild boar mixed with the sound of hurried footsteps. The wild boar herd panicked, madly rushing up the slope, but all were already in sight. We kept attacking. After the rain of bullets, more than half of the wild boar herd was taken down. That among the fleeing targets, we found the leader, the 250 kilograms monster that the whole team was looking for, hiding in a bush of dry grass. The pack of hunting dogs quickly rushed forward, forcing the target to leave its hiding place. Unexpectedly, in the chaos, it turned around to attack us. Luckily, we kept our cool, aimed straight at the vital point, and decisively took down the target. It was really too dangerous. There seemed to be some movement on the other side of the hill. We just saw a black shadow flash by. We immediately checked again. Now in sight was a wild boar. It had separated from the herd after the battle just now. It was already tired. Each step was heavy, but this was a good opportunity for us. The distance was gradually shortened. We raised our guns, chose a suitable shooting angle, and pulled the trigger. As soon as the gunshot stopped, the wild boar fell to the ground before passing out. At the same time, the team members were also fighting non-stop. They had discovered a few other targets lurking nearby. The gunshots echoed once again. The destructive wild boars had fallen under our guns. Continuing the battle, we unexpectedly encountered another giant beast. It stood there, towering, its fierce eyes scanning each person one by one. Everyone's breathing became rapid. A moment of deathly silence fell. In the blink of an eye, the wild boar had disappeared from sight, running towards the top of the hill. Immediately got into position and opened fire. Perfect. A memorable feat. However, more surprisingly, the gunshots stirred up the space, causing the herd of pigs hiding in the trees to quickly appear. Taking advantage of the situation, we continued to fire, taking down a few more targets. Before we could recover, we discovered another herd of pigs slowly walking out of the bushes. They had no idea what had just happened to their fellow pigs. The distance was very close now. Weapons were ready. We concentrated our fire, and in just a few seconds, 2 more wild pigs were taken down. Just a little more, and they would have escaped in time. Our hearts were beating fast, both nervous and happy. Just as we were about to head back, an unusual sound rang out from the trees on the other side of the mountain. They were still there. Quickly approaching, we discovered a few more single targets. It seemed like they had just escaped from a previous raid and were trying to retreat. Unable to let them escape, we deployed our formation, dividing into 2 groups to block both ends of the retreat route. Each accurate shot hit the target. That was the price they had to pay for their destruction. Time is running out, but the hunt is not over. The wild boars in this area are really not easy to subdue. We check the areas where the wild boars are likely to hide. Another hunt begins. Moving deeper towards the top of the hill, the atmosphere becomes tense. All senses are highly focused. An unusual movement. We quickly get into position. The next round of shots rings out. Black shadows leap out of the bushes, looking for a way to escape, but it's too late. The decisive gunshots and hurried footsteps, the invaders are being taken down one by one. This is not the first time participating in a campaign to control the wild boar population, but this time it seems much more dangerous. The rapid expansion of urban areas has significantly reduced the natural habitat, forcing wild boars to move deeper into residential areas in search of food. As living resources become increasingly scarce, they become bolder, more reckless, and more aggressive. Full weapons, equipment, and especially indispensable is the elite hunting dog team, the Silent Warriors, playing an important role in this hunt. Before the formation could be deployed, a herd of wild boars suddenly appeared from afar in a state of panic. Leading the way was a large, strong adult, a sign that this was the leader. Without hesitation, I identified the target and pulled the trigger. The gunshot echoed. The bullet stuck straight into the body of the wild boar. It staggered a few steps before collapsing, becoming the first spoils of the day. The remaining ones panicked and ran away. The whole team immediately split up to pursue. At a distance of 200 m, a wild boar was accurately shot down. Another tried to jump over the fence to escape, but was too late. The decisive shot caused it to collapse on the spot. At this time, a boar was hit by a bullet, but still tried to escape. Based on the traces, a tense chase took place. When it just appeared in the sight, a perfect shot ended the hunt. The bullet stuck straight into the head, finishing it off cleanly. Continuing deeper into the hill, when passing through the woods, I felt something unusual urging me to go closer to check. Going deeper inside, the space became strangely quiet. Quickly getting into position, adjusting my breathing, and resolutely pulling the trigger. The gunshot broke the silence. The first one collapsed on the spot. The second one panicked and rushed away, but only ran a few meters before the next shot rang out, ending all hope of escape. In recent years, the increase in the number of wild boars has become a serious problem for many farms. An adult wild boar can weigh from 80 to 150 kilograms, with a body length of up to 1.5 m, and their strength allows them to destroy fences, causing considerable damage to farmers. In particular, this herd of wild boars can destroy entire crops in just one night, or destroy livestock barns. The serious problem is that wild boars have the ability to reproduce very quickly. A female can give birth to 6 to 12 piglets per year. The overpopulation of this species has caused farmers and livestock keepers to face terrible losses. The situation was now very urgent. We immediately started preparing for a wild boar hunt that night. Each of us in our group brought a specialized hunting weapon, flashlight, and thermal scope to observe the target in the dark. With the support of modern technology, we could observe the entire farm area and detect the location of the wild boars as soon as they started to attack. The action plan was very simple, but no less dangerous. We divided the team into small groups. Each group would approach from different directions to ensure that the wild boars could not escape or counterattack. After about 30 minutes of waiting, dark shadows appeared and disappeared behind the grass. The wild boars were about 500 meters from the farm area. The thermal scope showed that the saboteurs were gradually entering the farmland. We decided to attack from two directions. 7. The first target was a wandering wild boar, which would be a good opportunity to attack. After just a few seconds, a gunshot rang out, and the wild boar weighing more than 100 kilograms collapsed. The gunshot caused the herd of wild boars to panic, and they scattered and ran into the nearby forest area. Continuously firing, we took down 5 more wild boars.
Hey, what you got there, bud?
After the wild boars dispersed, we decided to move and search for a target. The results showed that a group of 20 wild boars were gathering near the grassy area. However, things were not too difficult as the thermal scope allowed us to aim accurately. Although the weapon was equipped with a silencer, the continuous attack also caused the wild boars to panic. Unable to miss the opportunity, I immediately asked for support from my teammates. In the dark night, the gunshots kept ringing, and the saboteurs were eliminated one by one. We thought that the wild boars had retreated, but when we got closer, we suddenly discovered another herd of wild boars preparing to attack the barn area. Changing tactics, we attracted the attention of the wild boars with our cries. Then, seizing the opportunity, we aimed accurately at the vital spot and pulled the trigger. Perfect. 1 shot, 1 kill. Moving to the surrounding lands, as we approached the cultivated area, the herd of wild boars appeared from different directions. In particular, there were a few wild boars weighing more than 120 kilograms, extremely ferocious, destroying a cultivated area. We decided to surround and attack from many sides. With extremely fast reflexes, I shot accurately and took down this giant wild boar in just a few seconds. After 10 minutes of intense fighting, we continued to take down 10 more wild boars. Taking advantage of the chaos, a few targets escaped. Quickly following the trail, with their cunning, they used the tall and dense grass as shelter. However, that was completely meaningless. In the end, the wild boar herd was completely destroyed. After the bloody battle that night, we proceeded to clean up the battlefield. The carcasses of the wild boars were taken out of the farm area to avoid attracting other animals. The wild boar meat will be processed and used for economic purposes.
Fruit-laden orchard suddenly becomes a battlefield when a pack of ferocious wild boars rushes in, destroying everything in their path. What will farmer do to protect his year of hard work from the destruction of these wild animals? Let's follow the fierce battle between humans and wild boars in the dramatic and breathtaking chase right after. Dawn broke, our group left the small village and headed into the hills, where wild boars were wreaking havoc on crops. Vast fields of grain and lush orchards looked like a peaceful picture, but the peace was quickly shattered when a herd of wild boars appeared, stirring up chaos right before our eyes. A large herd of wild boars had penetrated deep into the orchard. We quickly split into two teams. One group surrounded the outside of the orchard while the agile hounds charged straight inside. Chasing the pigs began to move in a chaotic manner, barking loudly, and then a small wild boar ran out of the trees with the frightened look on his face. I was ready, a shotgun in my hand, aimed straight at the target. Boom! Broke the silence. A perfect shot. The wild boar staggered and then collapsed. A miserable cry rang out. But this was the price it had to pay for the destruction it had caused. But that was only the beginning. Inside the orchard, another wild boar roared loudly. It was much larger, weighing at least 120 kg, with jet black fur and glowing red eyes. It charged at an incredible speed. However, the pack of hunting dogs had already surrounded it and attacked fiercely. They had cornered the wild boar with no way out. After dealing with the threat in the orchard, we headed to our main destination for the day, a hill about a 10-minute drive from the orchard. The rough and the winding roads did not faze us. When we arrived, the scene before us was vile. The hills were high and the trees were dense, a haven for wild boars. As soon as I got out of the car, I spotted a large black-furred boar galloping across the hillside. It looked like something was chasing it, and I knew this was my chance. I raised my gun to my shoulder and aimed. My first shot missed, the boar dodging with surprising agility. But but not letting it escape, I quickly reloaded and pulled the trigger a second time. This time the bullet flew straight at the target, a perfect shot. The boar staggered and rolled down the hillside. A sense of victory filled me. From the distant hill, another herd of wild boars appeared, wandering around looking for food. I aimed straight at a large pig with pale grey fur. It seemed to be leading the herd. As the leader left the bushes, I took a precise aim and pulled the trigger. Boom! Bullet hits its head. The leader fell down in an instant. A loud explosion caused the whole herd of pigs to panic. They ran in all directions. Not wasting any chance, I continued to aim and shoot one by one. Shot, then shoot again. Gunshots continued. 1, 2, 3. One by one, the pigs fell.
Ali.
At this point, with a distance of 500 meters, I knew this would be a real challenge, but also an opportunity to show off my top shooting skills. I aimed at a large wild boar in the distance. With a steady breath, I held my hand steady and pulled the trigger. The bullet flew through the air. The long distance made me nervous, and then, boom! The wild boar was hit and fell on the spot. A spectacular shot at an extremely difficult distance. A sense of excitement and victory spread throughout my body. This was the result of months of relentless training, and this was how farmers fought to protect their crops from wild boars. With determination, excellent shooting skills, and tireless perseverance. Although we had killed one target, the loud noise only caused more chaos among the wild boars. They began to run away, hiding behind the dense trees. Suddenly, from the right side, a huge wild boar rushed out with terrifying speed. It moved like lightning, but my hunter instincts reacted immediately. I raised my gun, boom! The wild boar collapsed to the ground.
passage.
Wild boar, from a wild animal, now turned into a real disaster. Reports of hundreds of wild boars descending on residential areas were increasing. The local authorities could no longer stand idly by. They stepped in. This time, we participated in a large-scale wild boar hunting campaign organized by the government. With full weapons, modern equipment, and support from the rangers, we entered the hills, considered the epicenter of the wild boar crisis. Starting early in the morning, marching up the hills, where surveillance cameras detected a herd of more than 30 wild boars advancing toward the fields below. The terrain on the hills was very complicated, but also an advantage for ambushes. The group split up, quietly advancing toward the herd. When the distance was only about 50 meters, the signal to fire was given. The first shots rang out. 3 wild boars fell on the spot. The others ran away in panic, but it was too late. Within a few minutes, 4 more were taken down. An impressive start to today's campaign. Continuing to move, we discovered another group of wild boars running up the hillside. We immediately gave chase. Moving through mountainous terrain was not easy, but once we entered this battle, no one had any intention of giving up. Any target that entered the scope was taken down by the skilled shooters in the team. The others continued to run, but could not escape our observation from above. 5 minutes later, the entire herd of boars was annihilated. Advancing deeper into the forest, we encountered a giant wild boar. We were all too familiar with this situation. Without hesitation, we calmly aimed and shot straight at its head. The bullet hit right in the middle of its forehead, decisively taking down the target. At this time, our teammates were equally tense. Many other wild boars were discovered, and then a fierce chase took place. The sound of gunfire mixed with the screams of the pigs. This was the price they had to pay for what they had caused. As the sun rose, we entered a dense forest, which was said to be the lair of the largest herd of wild boars in the area. Suddenly, a wild boar jumped out of the bushes and charged straight towards the ambush location. One of the team members kept firing. However, the boar kept changing direction and charging. Without thinking much, we raised our guns and shot when it was only 3 meters away. The fatal shot caused the boar to collapse right in front of me. The others saw this and started to run away in panic, and we immediately took the opportunity to kill 6 more. Today was a lucky hunting day. It didn't take us long to find the next targets. Changing tactics, we would attack from the top of the mountain, where we had the perfect view and shooting angle. When the herd of boars started to pour out of the trees, we quickly took them down one by one, turning this area into a real battlefield. After a long day of fighting, the whole team was exhausted, but their fighting spirit did not decrease. Another herd of wild boars was discovered. The whole team advanced, approaching from many directions. When the herd discovered us, they panicked and tried to run away, but with the tight encirclement tactic, none of them could escape. After 10 minutes of tense struggle, the entire herd of boars was finally taken down. A few lucky targets escaped our sights, but we quickly found them because of the traces they left behind. Gunfire echoed once again, completely taking down the target. We stood on the hilltop, looking down at the battlefield below. A day of hunting was a great success. With dozens of wild boars killed, the campaign has saved hundreds of hectares of farmland from the ravages of wild boars. But this is just the beginning. The wild boar population is still very large, and the fight is certainly not over. The local government has seen the importance of controlling the wild boar population, and in the coming time, there will be more hunting campaigns to protect crops and people.
These are the most thrilling wild boar hunting moments ever. Each precise shot, breathtaking chase, and unexpected situations that make everyone's heart skip a beat. Are you ready? Let's explore the top wild boar hunting moments with ADP Earth right now. Unbelievable. Just one bullet, accurate to the millimeter, right in the middle of the wild boar's forehead. A top shot that gives everyone who watches it goosebumps. Not every wild boar is easy to take down. This is a real monster. Big, fast, and extremely dangerous. But the hunter was in no hurry. He waited, moved smartly, and then... a brave shot. A series of kills that cannot be taken off. Unbelievable. Even after being shot, the wild boar still tried to get up with the intention of attacking the hunter. So dangerous. But at that moment, the pack of hunting dogs surrounded it, barking loudly, forcing the beast into a corner. This was a relentless chase. The wild boar sensed danger and ran forward at full speed. But the hunter did not give up easily. He accelerated, chose the right shooting point, and pulled the trigger. The wild boar still refused to yield. Continuous shooting. What a beautiful shot. A situation not for the faint-hearted. The wild boar suddenly changed direction, charging straight at the hunter. In just a split second, he dodged, turned 180 degrees, and immediately shot. Oh, unbelievable. Waiting is an art, and this hunter demonstrated it perfectly. He was patient, barely moving, blending into nature. And then, when the wild boar came into range, just one shot, accurate to the centimeter, the wild boar collapsed, rolling down the hillside. The wild boar panicked, weaving through the dense trees, trying to escape. However, the hunter did not allow that to happen, adjusted his aim, and then pulled the trigger decisively. An impressive kill. Hunting wild boars is not just a one-man job. This is a moment that shows the power of teamwork. The hunters coordinated perfectly, surrounded, cornered, and took down a huge herd of wild boars. What do you think of this ambush tactic? It's amazing, right? Too fast, too precise. A dramatic close-range kill. Wow, the hunter calculated precisely, just a second of delay, and this wild boar would have disappeared from sight. Look at how he kept calm and waited for the golden opportunity. It's amazing. This hunter's shooting skills made me admire him. Even the long distance and harsh weather conditions could not trouble him. So we have reviewed the most dramatic moments of hunting wild boars. Which scene impressed you the most? Don't forget to leave a comment below and click like and subscribe for ADP Earth so you don't miss the next exciting videos. Wild boars are no longer just a concern for farmers. Now, they are causing nightmares all over the world, especially in the United States. Wild boars not only invade land, but also threaten communities, destroy crops, and endanger people. And today, we are on the road again, continuing the dramatic battle with this animal. Follow our team of hunters on their wild boar hunting journey and witness the thrilling moments of the chase. Early in the morning, we were at the edge of the forest, ready for a challenging hunt. We went deep into the dense forest. Just a few minutes later, the hunting dogs picked up the scent of the prey. Their barks echoed throughout the area, signaling that the target was very close. Following the sound, I headed towards a clearing between the trees. Through the foliage, I saw a herd of wild boars running in panic, trying to escape the fierce pursuit of the hunting dogs. Quickly hiding behind a large tree trunk, I raised my gun, aiming at the largest wild boar in the herd. It was running fast, but I waited patiently for the right moment. When it was clearly in my sight, I took a deep breath, held the barrel of the gun steady, and pulled the trigger decisively. The loud sound of the gun echoed in the deep forest. A fatal shot. This was not the first time we had set foot in this forest. As experienced hunters, we knew the habits and movements of the wild boars well. Therefore, in this area, many observation posts have been built, becoming ideal positions to help us monitor prey and hunt effectively. Choosing a nearby observation post, I quickly climbed up, stabilized my position, and was ready to wait. From above, my vision covered a large area, making it easy to detect even the smallest movements. Suddenly, a black shadow rushed past right in front of my eyes. Reflexively, I tightened the trigger. The wild boar was hit, stopped, and collapsed on the side of the road. Not wasting the opportunity, I quickly turned the gun to the left. At a distance of about 200 m, another wild boar was trying to run away. Taking a deep breath, I aligned my aim and pulled the trigger. This time, the target continued to be taken down neatly. As I left my hiding place, the quiet atmosphere was suddenly broken by a loud noise. Suddenly, from between the trees, a wild boar rushed forward with red eyes full of anger and a dizzying speed. It seemed like it had been waiting for this moment for a long time. Although it was a dangerous situation, with my extensive experience in hunting, I did not panic. Everything seemed to happen very slowly. I quickly realized the situation and calmly raised my gun. Aiming precisely at the vital point, I pulled the trigger without hesitation. The bullet hit the wild boar's head, causing it to collapse immediately. The number of wild boars was increasing. They appeared everywhere, surrounding my hiding place. Every movement in the forest made me highly alert. It felt like the whole forest was bustling with the presence of the herd of pigs. That was the opportunity one was waiting for. Everything was ready. Gun in hand, bullets loaded. I was just waiting for the opportunity to fire. One shot, one kill. Gunshots rang out continuously. Each wild boar fell mercilessly.
Good.
After taking down the herd of wild boars at the observation post, I didn't stop. The forest next door was still uncontrolled, and that was where I continued my hunting journey. I moved cautiously, avoiding revealing my position. Every step was carefully calculated. As soon as I entered the forest next door, the pack of hunting dogs that had been lying in wait began to bark loudly, signaling that the prey was not far away. With the support of the dogs, I easily took down 4 more wild boars, increasing my number of spoils.
Yes.
As soon as the gunshot rang out, a few wild boars in the pack realized the danger and hurriedly looked for a way to escape. However, I had already grasped their every move, and they could not fool me. I immediately adjusted my position and pulled the trigger. However, the bullet did not hit a vital spot, so they still had the ability to escape. However, its body was damaged, and its ability to move was severely reduced. In the end, it could not escape its fate of being destroyed. In the midst of the chaos, the remaining wild boars managed to find a way to escape, disappearing from our sight. But we were not worried. With the support of the hunting dogs, we quickly regained the initiative. After a short time, the dogs found their hiding place. The barking of the dogs echoed throughout the forest. I adjusted my sights, identifying each panicked prey within sight. And immediately, I pulled the trigger. The last wild boars were taken down, unable to escape. Wild boars, a wild animal that not only causes huge economic losses, but also threatens the environment and ecosystem. They reproduce at a dizzying speed, destroy crops, devastate forests and cause heavy losses to farmers. In particular, they also have the ability to adapt quickly to all living conditions, making their control a huge challenge. Therefore, a comprehensive plan has been drawn up to prevent the invasion of this animal. The plan was implemented not only based on weapons, but also on the sophistication in setting traps and tracking the movements of wild boars. Everything was ready, and the dramatic hunt began. That day, we arrived at the meeting point. This was a large area of land where wild boars often appeared. I began to check the surrounding area, looking for traces of wild boars. Large, deep pig footprints imprinted on the wet ground led me to an area near a dense bush. This was where they often visited. After identifying the familiar paths of the pigs, I decided to set traps at these strategic points. The traps were cleverly designed, effectively capturing wild boars without causing harm to them. To attract them, I used corn and wheat as bait. The scent of these baits is irresistible to the wild boars. To ensure that the surveillance goes smoothly, I also placed some infrared cameras near the traps so that I can observe the movements of the wild boars at night. Once the traps were set, I moved to the neighboring area, where I could easily observe any movements without being detected. The whole team sat waiting, concentrating, preparing for the next attack. Using the remaining bait, I spread them out on an open field, then climbed a nearby tree to hide and wait. In my hand was the Henry carbine, a gun that stood out thanks to its fast-firing mechanism, ease of use, and powerful damage. 1 hour passed. At this time, I discovered a mature wild boar weighing about 90 kilograms approaching. Little did it know that this would be its last meal. I did not hesitate, raised my gun, aimed accurately, and pulled the trigger. The shot rang out. The wild boar collapsed to the ground. The remaining ones panicked and ran away, running in different directions.